Hello, AP people. Welcome back for document of the day number 5. Today's selection is William Jennings Bryan's 1896 Cross of Gold speech. This is often considered one of the most significant and most powerful speeches in American politics, and I pretty well agree with that assessment. For me, it ranks right up there with Nixon's Checkers speech. It's pretty masterful, I have to say. So today's installment is actually going to include some hipping of the document. So if you like to practice that skill or just want to hear a bit of it, this is the place to be. Right? So just some context on Bryan himself. He's kind of an interesting guy. His political career really kicks off in 1896 with this speech, but he never really becomes anything more successful than Secretary of State under Woodrow Wilson. Throughout his political life, he serves as a representative from Nebraska for a very long time. Again, Wilson's Secretary of State, and just before his death, he actually argues for the prosecution in the Scopes trial in Tennessee, so that infamous monkey trial. And he has some really quotable material from that as well. You can see by this political cartoon that he does pull a lot of his imagery and a lot of his speeching directly from the Bible, which supports that idea of him defending the state of Tennessee in the Scopes trial. He's criticized for it, but it also really appeals to the public that he's trying to target. Okay? So for the sake of context on the document, this is my historical perspective. Bryan speaking at the Democratic National Convention. He is attacking the gold standard, and he's calling for the expanded coinage of silver in the speech, which is mostly in response to the Panic of 1893 and Grover Cleveland's support of a continued gold standard, despite calls from populists and American farmers to embrace bimetallism, which is having gold coins and expanded silver coinage. Right. The gold standard allowed the U.S. to trade more freely with other countries, but it also really sharply limited the supply of money in the country. So it did cause some problems for some people, and directly relates to the issues in the Panic of 1893. This text is intended for the Democratic Party, just in a direct sort of way. That's who he's speaking to, but it's also serving as an early campaign speech. He's laying down some early planks for what will become his campaign in 1896. Right? And the purpose here, obviously, he's gunning for a nomination, which he does successfully get. The speech is perfectly tailored to incite the people who are hearing it and make them feel motivated. He uses some really strong words throughout, and it would make you feel pretty pumped, right? In his perspective here, it's a pretty populist perspective, right, on the base level, that you need to put more cash in hand for the American public. And it's really supporting that belief of the time that bimetallism would rescue us from all the financial struggles that we had been experiencing. Right, so the most commonly quoted bit of the speech is the very last section, the last paragraph. So we're just going to jump in with that. No, my friends, that will never be the verdict of our people. Therefore, we care not upon what lines the battle is fought. If they say bimetallism is good, but that we cannot have it until other nations help us, we reply that instead of having a gold standard because England has, we will restore bimetallism and then let England have bimetallism because the United States has it. If they dare to come out in the open field and defend the gold standard as a good thing, we will fight them to the uttermost. Having behind us the producing masses of this nation and the world, supported by the commercial interests, the laboring interests, and the toilers everywhere, we will answer their demand for a gold standard by saying to them, you shall not press down upon the brow of labor this crown of thorns. You shall not crucify mankind upon a cross of gold. So as you can imagine, the nominating convention goes wild. Bryan is selected as, in fact, the youngest presidential nominee in American history. I think he was 36. And he goes on to run for president 3 more times. so he is never successful. By the end of his life, he's rather fondly referred to as the great commoner, because he believes in the wisdom of the American public above all other things. So that was document of the day number 5. I will see you later.